Otherwise on Safm.
Good day, Mzansi, and a warm welcome from a warm Johannesburg, funny enough. You're listening to Otherwise on Safm, South Africa's news and information leader. My name is Shadow Twala. Now, today we're looking at a drug-free youth music project that's launching a song, and I believe that song will be launched tomorrow. We'll find out from Roland Bouchard. And then we speak to the executive director, Robert van der Feest, who is executive director of the charity at Nakonon, Cape Town, which is the charity the music project supports.
Otherwise on Safm.
Substantification. I birth these verses, reverse in a curse. Substantification. I birth these verses, reverse in a curse. Good went bad, bad became worse. Round the next corner, blood means the worst. But now we got a text to straighten all the curves. They heat it from the roots, victimize the keys, taking all the loot. It looks like the bleed. I know you know the truth. You know it's the weed. Diving in the brook, you will never get free. Burning on them spikes in the world of chemicals, trying to make us right. These words are cynical. We wish to go to school, but then we got real. To choose the roots of food, provided us with legal. I joined the rank of those who want these went lyrical. And as to be told, we're being spiritual. How much more powder you need to your nose, living never tower. This life is imposed, the body can impose you. A life you don't wish for, be bold and impose. These things you never reach for. Wanted another dose, he don't act like a withdrawal. He got another dose, he's ready to depart. We came to be the leaders of tomorrow, but today's leaders led us into sorrow. We know what we up against, ladies and chicks. We here to play the game, yeah, we come again. We came to be the leaders of tomorrow, but today's leaders led us into sorrow. We know what we up against, ladies and chicks. We here to play the game, yeah, we come again.
Okay, and that's the song. And my guests in the studio, Roland Bouchard and Robert van der Feest. Hello, and welcome to Otherwise.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you for coming to the studio, firstly, and taking your time out. Roland, you manage this project. Tell me what the drug-free music project is about.
Yeah, well, first I would like to thank you, Mrs. Twala, to inviting us on that channel.
Oh, you're so beautiful.
First. No, I have to, because it's an important project, because there are many data youngsters, children may or may not know about drugs. Mm-hmm. And so this drug-free youth music project is meant to help Narcon and Cape Town and its director Robert van der Feest to make true data about drugs, alcohol, known to youngsters, parents and teachers. Okay. So we use music to help this approach to be more easy. Basically, that's the whole idea, because children and youngsters listen lots of music, so it's an easy idea to put a message across and to help Robert expand his activities in schools, because Robert has been doing lectures about drugs he's been doing lectures to over 200,000 students in schools for the past 14 years, and he's got a very, very good result. And so we have composed and completed the first track of a 9-song series of anti-drugs, which is the song you just played, which is called Substantification Hip Rock.
Sorry, what is it called?
Substantification Hip Rock. Substantification, it's a word we came up with. It's funny, but it basically means the spreading of substances through any means. Can be through drugs, through prescription drugs, through in the food as well, in the this kind of cokes and all kind of soda you can have, these kind of things, addiction to sugar and things. But we're more talking about drugs and alcohol. So this track, you can listen to the track on DrugFreeYouthMusicProject.org, and if you listen to the track, you can also buy the track and get the full information about drugs, alcohol, and prescription drugs. And this kind of information you can get what parents can do when children take drugs. You can find how to get rid of any addiction. You can get true short and long-term effects of marijuana, ecstasy, LSD, crack, and many other things that Robert explains during his talk in schools. So that's what we do. So somebody who likes the track, he can well, even if he's not meant to like the track. Some guys are not hip hop people. I'm not especially a hip hop guy, I must tell you, Mrs. Twala. But I'm more a jazz guy. But whatever, I had to do this track because it's for kids.
Roland, you can call me Shadow. It's okay.
Thank you, Shadow.
But Robert, hello, and thank you for your work. You've been doing work for a long time in South Africa, but why do you think the music project will make a difference as such? And I know Roland is trying to attract the message through music because music is what young people like, but they also like music that speaks their language. And I'm not sure if getting a sort of lecture, because it's partly a lecture, you're telling them to be the future leaders or leaders of tomorrow. Do you think we're getting through to them this way?
I think it's one avenue, but the nice thing about this project is that the sales from the of the track and the tracks that he's going to make in the future, then that helps us go to schools and do our work in the way we've been doing in all these years. Because yes, you can't lecture to kids. You can't say don't do this, don't do that. You know, there's a way to get through to them, and it's best done, you know, in live presentations like we do. So yes, whatever effect that the track has on the kids, that's good, but it's not the only way we're doing it.
You know, everyone is talking about drugs. I mean, there's drug programs all over the country, and I suppose just as much as we have crime, we've become numb to it. And I appreciate the fact that the music is almost a different way of getting the message across. But are we doing enough? And are we not doing much of the same thing that, you know, every child knows a drug is bad, but we're still attracting more and more users? What should we be doing differently?
Wow. I do think that the programs that reach the kids have got to be chosen to be those that are effective. It's no use doing a lot of things that aren't making a difference. So I do think that that needs to be looked at. But then also, yeah, I mean, with kids, like you said, you can't just tell them what to do. You've got to get them to actually figure it out for themselves. And those are the kind of programs which have been found to be most effective. But besides just talking about drugs and, you know, getting them to decide not to do drugs, you've got to have programs which work on other, you know, like life skills. Like let's say, for example, a child is shy. What could they do to become more confident and not maybe start drinking or using drugs to overcome that? And unfortunately, there's this kind of trend where any quirk or shortcoming in human behavior is now labeled as a psychiatric disorder and drugged with drugs. And I don't believe that's the full solution. It's, you know, so besides drug education, there've got to be life skills programs for young people that work, so that people can, you know, we can help them reach their goals and succeed in life. I think that's the full solution. So
what's your program, and what do you deal with? Because you talk at schools, you intervene at various places, and I know there's a narcocon that also does programs in Xhosa and Sotho, in Johannesburg and Cape Town. But I'm trying to understand what successes you've had and what you attribute that to.
Okay, well, when it comes, I mean, the problem that we run into is that when we go to schools have only got so much time to give you. And although we'd love to run life skills workshops for the students, we don't often have time. So when we go in there, we basically correct the perception that has been developed around drugs. For example, a lot of people actually are saying these days that marijuana is good for you because it's natural and has medical uses and so on. And as a result of that idea, a lot of people smoke weed thinking they're doing themselves absolutely no harm, when in fact that's not the complete truth. Yes, although the plant might have uses, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily good for you just because it helps chemo patients reduce nausea, you know. So The way we do that is by basically getting the students to become aware of the influences that cause them to think certain ways about certain things. So you make them aware of what the influences that they have, and then once they've seen where their ideas and how their ideas get formed, often without them knowing, then we give them the true data about drugs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roland, I hear an accent. Where are you from?
I'm French.
You're French.
Je suis français.
I hear this very much.
Merci.
But you have the same kind of experiences in France, and is this song, do you think, is the song going to make a difference internationally as well? Because you can download it, right, anywhere in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can download it on the website, DrugFreeYouthMusicProject.org. To be honest with you, it has already started, because we have also a Facebook page, and we're connected to people who work in France, even in the States, to make this data known on their own side. And we had the first track bought yesterday in France. So that's it. And then yes, and in France, it's catastrophic.
Really?
Simply, I don't want to say bad things about my country, because I love the people, I love the country, I encourage people to go on holiday over there. But it's true that they actually Shadow actually create disease. Yesterday I was with my wife having a nice orange juice, because we've got very good orange juice in South Africa, in a pub, and then she was watching YouTube, and she saw video from a very famous TV channel where they invented a disease that now you've got a tummy and it's a disease. You see, they're making up stories, and the pharmaceutical industry is making up stories, invented diseases that don't exist, just to sell more drugs. Wow. That's what they do. And you open the cupboard of my dad, well, you better pay attention, because you're going to crawl. You're going to be submerged overwhelmed by pills that are going to fall on you. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. And let's talk about Ritalin, for example. When I was young, I was properly educated by a teacher who could actually teach properly. When you had a problem, you would be taken care personally. Now, maybe because the government are lacking funds in school, now you've got one teacher for 30 students. So how can this guy take care of a single children? So you see that, and they prescribe Ritalin to children, and I've got in front of me a report, which I showed to Robert, from a young kid of 14 years old that died of long-term use of Ritalin. I've got the official report in front of me. The guy is dead of that, of taking long-term Ritalin. So you see, they're turning something that shouldn't exist. They want. I think it's a money story, and
that's very interesting. Just hold that thought. I'm going to come back to you. We'll take a little break, because now we're talking about maybe even governments as colluders to why we're not solving the drug issue. But we're coming back to talk to you after this.
Otherwise, on SAFM.
The Drug-Free Youth Music Project is what we're talking about. There's a substantification hip rock song that has been launched and is going to be launched internationally. But and my guests are Robert van der Feist and Roland Bouchard in the studio. But why is the fight against drugs getting weaker and weaker? We don't seem to win this fight. And there's a suggestion, Roland, from the document that you have in front of you, that pharmaceutical companies are responsible, and which tells me that maybe there's a collusion with governments. Roland?
I don't want to have problem with the FBI, you see. But to be honest, Shadow, I'm going to tell you something very rapidly. I took street drugs for a long time. I was nearly in the national team of French hockey player. I was nearly drafted, and drugs made me give up this career opportunity. Then I was prescribed prescription drugs. For 6 years I got addicted to it. I had to quit school because I couldn't concentrate anymore on my study. So either street drugs, either prescription drugs. You get addicted to both. Mm-hmm. Now, when I'm talking about prescription drug, I'm talking about any drugs prescribed. Anything that's not natural. The body needs vitamins. Any drugs eats vitamin C, B1, B complex, and niacin first. And deficiency alcohol eats the vitamin B1 in the body, and so that's what lead people to lose their abilities, not remember properly after long-term use, and nothing escaped to that. Ritalin is the same thing. They think Ritalin is good for children in school. That is not true. Mm-hmm. I've got the proof in front of me. This poor gentleman, 14 years old, died of long-term use of Ritalin. I've got it in front of me. It's an official report. So collusion, don't want to talk about that. Let's say that high interests are at risk. Okay. I can say that.
Okay, high interest are at risk. But please give me the report. What's the report you're reading from?
So it's an autopsy protocol from Oakland County, Michigan. It's in the States. Mm-hmm. And the name of disease is Matthew W. Smith. Mm-hmm. Case number 00912, autopsy number 0239, and it says that.
Okay, you'll give me those details much later, so that we can put it on our website. At least all of us must be able to share it. But Robert, what knowing what we know now from Roland, especially in the kinds of reports we're reading, is the ways that you fine tuning your service. Apart from the song, which just creates awareness, but does it change the way you give the service at your Nakanon?
Not really, because Roland's is helping us reach more kids with the sale of this. And but what we plan to do in the future is we want to open up a youth center where young people can come and improve themselves, because that's really the solution. I mean, when I was young and having troubles socially with girls and so on, if I had a place I could go to, sort myself out and get self-esteem and self-confidence, then I wouldn't have had to drink and smoke weed to try and overcome my shortcomings. So that's in the pipeline for us in the future.
Looking back, you probably think, that it would be the automatic way to go, a natural progression. But it's not when you are having those problems. Even when people offer you help, you almost believe friends first before any adult will give you the right direction,
Yeah, that's true. It's got to be something that's accessible for the kids, and it's kind of like something that's cool to do, something that's fun to do. It can't be like, oh, well, you have issues and you need to go and do this program, because that's going to make anyone not want to do it. You don't want to feel like there's something wrong with you. So it's got to be a center where you can improve yourself. It's not for people who've got problems. It's some ways kids can go to make their lives better.
The reason we're not winning the fight as well is that most rehab centers are very expensive. Those that do give, and the very popular ones, and very little, very few of them are free in any way. And most parents can't afford rehab centers.
Yeah, that is a problem. And that's why we do prevention, because, trying to pick up the pieces afterwards is really hard.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So prevention always is better than cure. Yeah. So you're trying to reach younger people, and through this song. So we can download this song at www.DrugFreeYouthMusicProject.org. Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, you can also download at the same. When you download the song, you download all the drug information that Robert make known to youngsters and parents, and even more than that. Even you have a natural rehabilitation center's address, contacts, everything. Oh, absolutely everything.
And how much does it cost?
Oh, the minimum price is 16 rand.
16
rand, yeah.
16 rand, and the money goes into your charity.
To Mr. Robert in front of me.
Well, not to me. Yeah.
To Nakanon, yeah, not to Roger.
Yeah. So and who performs the songs?
Basically, it's me. It's Xavier Chofo and Roger Nunn. There's 3 performers on that, and we've got 2 other songs nearly done, which is the reggae track and the jazz track. It's still in the studio.
Yeah, but I think you must do one in Sotho and Xhosa as well.
Yeah, I have to. There's one, the Kwaito track is in Xhosa.
Okay. And
I don't understand what he says, but I know he translated the lyrics.
Well, I was going to say, I hope you're not the singer or the rapper in that one, because then it's futile, because your accent is very heavy. So you must find somebody to do, in a more clarified way. But I love the accent. Don't get me wrong, but it would be too heavy for the message to come across.
Of course.
Okay, so we'll give the Drug Free Youth Music Project a a plug, and hopefully we hear from people and see if it's working. But I would like you to come back on the radio and give me some results after a while. It is available immediately?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, people have started downloading the tracks on the website, and listen and get all the data they need about drugs. Yeah,
Okay.
they can also, if they want more data, that something maybe that it's possible something is not on the website. There is an email address on the website. They can contact us. They will get Robert on me or me, and you can help them to find what they want.
Okay, I'll come and visit you in Cape Town soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Roland, and thank you for the good work that you do, and thank you for coming into the studio to talk to us.
Thank you, especially thank you to you, Shadow.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
And that website again, www.drugfreeyouthmusicproject.org, and they're creating awareness about the danger of drugs, that drugs are not the way to happiness, satisfaction, or spiritual advancement, for that matter. So do visit them, www.drugfreeyouthmusicproject.org, and the email address is there should you have any more questions to ask, and hopefully we'll get that autopsy protocol report that he was mentioning. It is time for news headlines with Utsile Sako.